Good evening, all. Good evening, Angus. How are you this evening?
Good. I'm doing well.
Do you have a beverage?
I do have a beverage. Sorry, hang on. I'm just gonna. Okay, sorry. I had the recording window right across my camera. I couldn't see anything and I had my mouse turned out. Anyway, yes, I've got one of my steward pack beers. Turn it around.
Ah,
I've gone big and really dumb and stupid tonight. Future Magic's Navy Stout, 11.2%.
ooh.
So I may
Well,
fall asleep.
I went with a 10.5% little one. So, um, hands off my pie.
Lightweight.
It's a Bacchus Banoffee pie uh, drop that I found in the fridge. Um, so, let's see that.
Black for just what's for just black depths.
Yeah, yep, that's a big drop. Mine is pastry stout, so of course it's very sweet, caramel, banana, that real banoffee pie. How's your
Yum, yum,
stout?
yum, yum, yum.
Yep, yep, yep.
It's very thick and chewy.
Yup, yup,
Very
yup, yup,
chewy.
yup. Yeah, nice.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
First up this week, lots of positive comments from our basement quality chat with Matt Kierkegaard last week. I think we could have made it a 20-part episode. We still had heaps to discuss.
Yeah,
How'd you find it, Angus?
I really enjoyed it. I thought we had a good roll on. I mean, all you do is throw Matt half an idea, and he's gone for 10 minutes with yeah, a lot of knowledge and history of craft beer and how it's worked in Queensland. He's been around that long. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was probably one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, yeah. It's probably been one of their most popular ones, according to all the analytics as well. So, again, thank you, Matt. And if you ever want to jump on, yeah, we'd be happy to have you at any stage as well.
Yep, absolutely. We'll
Um,
queue up a double session ahead of time this time.
yeah, yeah, might make it a three-parter. Yeah. Um, Basement quality beerscapade. So we took the bikes out for a ride on Saturday, and we visited Canungra, Beachmont, and before finally landing at Miami to check out Padre. You would have seen from our posts that we thought that the really cool venue, really cool food, quality beers, but as we mentioned, the service was next level, and it will probably be what sets them apart from other brew pubs for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was surprised it was table service. That was the first thing that I noticed, and the staff were just below hovering.
Yep.
So they were constantly wandering around, seeing what they could do. Even just having like a quick kind of 10-second, 15-second conversation. How'd you find the beers? Yeah, I thought the service was really good, and whoever's training the staff there have really got it nailed down to a good system.
Yeah, yeah, it was impressive. Um, Next story, we had Tilray purchase Brewdog Australia. So somehow the Australian arm, heavily backed by the Queensland government, to set up shop here, has been purchased for 62 million. Considering that the UK, the whole UK operation was just a little bit more than that, it's a real surprise. So that's the production facility, the dog tap, and Brewdog Fortitude Valley. The other three venues are partner run by ABC. Um, I don't know if those numbers show how poor it was performing in the UK or just how successful the brand is here. But Tilray, the Canadian owned but US operated cannabis beer and lifestyle brand, are now considered America's fourth largest craft brewer, with acquisitions of Red Hook, Green Flash, and Sweetwater in their midst. I don't know what's happening with Brewdog US or Brewdog India, but I would say they're probably first in line to grab them as well. I wish maybe with the ownership change, does that mean the Queensland government gets any of their money back? Or was that not part of the contract? What do you think?
Um, I don't reckon Queensland government's getting any money back.
Yeah,
Uh, firstly. And I wonder, so the sale of in Australia, I wonder if that's somehow a little bit protected from all the completely negative press and negative marketing that's happening in Europe and in the UK with James Watt, basically. I wonder if the market here is a little bit protected because it's so far away and we kind of feel a bit isolated from, you know, James Watt being the figurehead of BrewDog.
Mm.
Like we don't see him here in Australia. He's not out here. He's not screwing up in the Australian press. I wonder if that's part of the reason why it sold for what seemed like a lot of money compared to the whole European operations.
It seems crazy, doesn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
is it the fact that the it was so far down the in the doldrums in the UK that they just were getting what they could for it because they I think it was 11 venues or 38 venues or something like that. 11 they're going to shut. It was a crazy amount, and for that to be 33 million pounds, and us to be 62 million, that's it's a crazy, but you get what it is. There's probably not as many equity punks in Australia as well. I know there's some, but probably not as many.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
interesting.
That could be it. Yeah, that article I threw up just earlier tonight.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's it was pretty savage, and I wonder if he was a equity punk holder and feels a bit burnt by the whole thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of
But I
people
mean,
are.
all the things he said are quite truthful.
Mm. I've
Yeah,
seen some really good venues in the UK saying if you've lost your job, come and talk to us, sort of thing for the staff, which I like seeing that sort of stuff. It's not their fault, but
yeah,
yeah. So if you've lost your job, there's lots going around apparently. My next story was from the Royal Queensland Beer Awards. They've announced an adjustment for the champion large brewery for this year's awards. I actually said it to Ross from Gage Roads on the night when they won their third trophy. I said, "Oh, I guess we know who the large champion is," and it wasn't. Slipstream were announced, but I'm gutted for Slipstream because they picked up an amazing 18 golds. But the champion category is one based on your top four beers, and Slipstream won two trophies, and Gage Roads won three. So I'm sure a thorough review will go into what went wrong. Yeah, like I said, gutted for. Really happy for Gage Roads. They had an amazing showing, and the guys came over from Perth, and we took them to. We went to Felons for lunch the day of the awards, and Lincoln showed us around, and it was really cool. And uh, Jet from Happy Valley came and joined us for lunch and stuff, which was really good. But yeah, gutted for Slipstream. Um, 18 golds and not a large champion. So anyway,
yeah.
that's
Well, part of the like the ending process for the stewards is when kegs get cold, they get put into one of the reefers, the refrigeration units at the back.
yeah,
So all the golds are put into one shed, and then we kind of finished off the normal voting, and then Caesar and I and a couple other guys went through and kind of double checked all the golds were there, and made sure we had all the kegs and just ticked some boxes. And I was going through, and Slipstream have quite a distinctive keg collar, the cardboard collar thing. I don't know what
mm,
the proper term is,
yep,
but it's quite distinctive, quite colourful. So I just went through them like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and I was counting like it was that like must have been 18. They had a lot of kegs in there.
yep,
And I'm like, surely they're a shoe-in for a large brewery. Like,
yeah,
how do you get 18 golds and not win that? But
yep,
that's the
that's the
that's the
rules.
rules, eh?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, great effort by them still, but yeah,
Oh yeah, they still cleaned up the trophies. They won a lot of beers.
oh, it's just gone
Yeah.
from strength to strength under Gavin, and that they bought the venue back and opened up the second venue, and yeah, it's been really good. You had a story from Blind Boy.
Blind Boy, yeah. I I wonder if I'm the only person in Queensland craft beer that doesn't know about this. So he got. I'll just scroll down so I get this right. He was awarded Emerging Queensland Brewer at the Beer Awards, which I completely missed. Um, and I guess the his brewery's name is Blind Boy Brewing, and the reason behind that is that legally he's actually classed as blind. So legally classed as blind, running the brew floor. So I think that would be a really interesting conversation to have with him about how he manages all those processes with limited sight. I mean, I guess being legally blind doesn't mean that you're absolutely blind, but just that you're not allowed to drive a car. You kind of legally seen as blind. So I think that would be a really interesting chat to have. Yeah.
Yeah, we might have to drop Jacob a line and hear the story because it's like you said, really interesting.
Mm. Yeah, I watched there was a really brief interview on the RNA socials, and he was saying that he feels like all his other senses are heightened, like his sense of
Ah,
smell, aroma, and he was saying he can hear things in the brewery.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is all interesting, right?
Uh, hang on,
That fires questions.
that mash is about to get stuck. I better jump in. Yeah.
45 bloops per second.
Yep.
Yep, that's going well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. That'd be a really cool story. We'll have to reach out to Jacob because yeah, I think he's actually brewing. I know it's near Hiker. I think it might be near the old what was it, the ballistic barrel program.
Might be there, yeah, because it's in Commercial Road, which is kind of one block over on a like a cul-de-sac.
Mm. Yeah, so
Yeah, I never actually went to.
Jake Harrison's when he did the barrel program for ballistic, that
Yeah,
I think that's where he's set up. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Speaking of Jake Harrison, you had a chat to him about Happy Valley.
Yeah, I did. We had a bit of a chat during the beer awards, and I don't think they'd actually announced their new venue yet, but they're in the midst of setting up a new venue in Wollongabba
Mm.
called Hop City Bar, and it sounds pretty cool. Initially, you think it sounds like a craft beer bar, but they're going to put on cocktails and whiskeys and obviously some bar food as well.
Mm.
Yeah, so I was chatting to Jake during the beer awards about it, and so I think they've got 17 or 18 taps on it at their home venue. So they're putting on a bunch of new taps at this new place. He's going to be brewing like an absolute madman to keep supply up. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Jet told me
Um,
it's been in the works for a while. This Gabba facility, and I saw some photos this week, and it looks pretty flash actually. Looks uh, sort of upper class sort of tap room. Probably suits the area really well. Um, yeah, Hop
well,
City by the way.
I think that is gonna suit well because and I mean this is looking like really far down the track, but then so the Brisbane government's looking at putting in an extra 2,500 homes in the area,
Mm,
and after the 32 games, they'll be demolishing the Gabba,
yep.
and they'll be turned into 8 hectares of green space. So, I mean, if they can hang out until 2032 and that green space comes in, what do Australians love more than going to the park and having a barbie and a few beers? And if they can keep that venue open with the extra 2,500 people there, and then all the people flocking into that massive green space, that's got to be a good thing for the future of that venue, you'd think.
Yeah, and they'll have the Gabba train station and the bus station, and there'll be a couple of breweries around there with EB by Hiker and the German Club and
German club.
yeah, Future Magic and things like that. So Easy Times is around there as well. So yeah, it could be a really good little hub. I think what's happening when the Gabba gets demolished, there's going to be sort of medium density sort of high rises going in, and then like you said, that big green space for sort of like the communities that I saw in Germany, where everyone lives in high rises, but they all have these big shared community sort of spaces. Um, and it sort of makes the most of the space you've got. It's a really nice sort of communal sort of arrangement. So maybe that's what they're looking at doing there.
Yeah, same sort of setup as Sweden as well. Where they have like massive high rises, and the ones that I saw, they have them in a circle,
Yep.
and then so inside the buildings they have a big green space, and people have kind of quasi reserved areas on the grass that's there, so they'll leave some chairs there and a barbecue,
Yep.
um, and they'll go down and have Sunday barbecue, and everyone's kind of chatting and talking about the week,
Yeah.
talking
No.
about the Australian guy that's there. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. No, that's very cool. And you had a story about little creatures.
Yes, a beer brand that's very close to my heart, my gateway beer, if you
Yep.
like, way back. So they've just finished a $10 million refurbishment on their main venue in Fremantle. So the venue sits right on the Fremantle Harbour, and from the photos I saw, it's got absolutely brilliant views of the harbour. So you could sit there and drink a pint of little creatures, watch some boats fly past, and pretend you're rich. One of the cool things with the refurbishment, they've now got a new system in place where you're drinking Little Creatures Pale Ale and Fremantle Lager straight off the tanks.
Ooh.
So you will not be able to find a fresher Little Creatures anywhere in Australia than straight off the tank at Fremantle Harbour.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so with the refurbished, they're going to offer their wood-fired pizzas and rotisseries and all the normal stuff before that. They brought in a new head chef to kind of bring in some new experimental menu choices. So, if I'm ever in Fremantle, I will definitely be going to get a fresh as Little Creatures Pale Ale.
Yeah. Nice. I'm a big fan of Rogers. The red, the mid red. That's a cracker. But like you said, little creatures pale. Yeah, a stalwart of the Australian craft beer industry for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Around the world with Angus this week.
Around the world with Angus. So this week we're taking a fairly short but very anxious flight in a very heavily armored helicopter from Iran to Israel.
Oh,
So
nice.
jump across a couple of borders. Um, yeah, this is going to be an interesting adventure. I was really fascinated learning some stuff about Israel. So last week I talked about Iran being under the Sharia law, that being
Yep.
the legal framework for Iran. So Israel has an interesting blend of Ottoman and British legal systems, and those are the primary legal systems.
Yep.
But Israel also operates state-sanctioned, publicly funded Sharia courts, which primarily handle personal status laws like marriage, divorce, alimony, child custody.
Okay.
So Qadis or their judges are appointed by a committee and then confirmed by the president of Israel. Uh, However, these courts can't enforce Sharia punishments like stoning and amputation.
Okay.
So just limited to the personal status cases. Um, I think with that we're veering dangerously close to a geopolitical podcast, and
Nice.
I'm not smart enough for that. So let's talk about craft beer. And there's heaps. So the biggest brewery I found was Alexander Brewery. They seem to have won quite a few trophies, including a silver medal for their Bock in the European Star Beer Comp. So it sounds like they got some pretty good beers there. And I went through their beer list, and I want to go. So I'll just kind of read some of
Maybe
their beers.
not now.
Not now. Well, I don't know. This beer list is pretty good.
Okay.
So the first beer they put on their list is a Bière de Garde style beer.
Yum.
So it's leading with that is for by Australian standards, pretty courageous.
Yep.
Then a Belgian blonde, and then they've got a couple of standard IPAs and wheat beers. But then they're back with a Fest beer, a Bock, and then a saison.
Yum.
And they have an annual 11% barley one that they produce. So
Wow.
I'm all about that beer list. That sounds awesome.
It does. 100%.
Yeah. Next one I found was Malka Brewery. So what it lacks in an awesome beer list, it truly makes up for in the experience. They originally started brewing in 2006, starting with a pale ale, blonde, and a stout. and they recently combined with one of Israel's largest distilleries to start producing a range of distilled beer spirits.
Hmm.
So they're using their blonde ale as a base. That beer's distilled, and the base flavors of spice, citrus zest, and coriander seeds are added or added to during the distillation process.
Okay.
Plus, Malco, the accommodation available around their brewery has absolutely jaw-dropping views of the Mediterranean. Some of the views is just mind-blowing. So
Just oil
maybe
tankers
I
on
can.
fire and stuff.
Oil tanker's on fire, and no. Oil tanker's been
Oh,
escorted through by US Navy boats safely, and there's no mines or anything.
yeah, nice.
Uh,
That beer list for Alexander Brewery though, like you said, that sounds amazing.
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I know. I might have to buy some flat jackets.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
I was reading the list. I'm like, oh, I need to go at some
Yep,
point.
yep. Sounds really cool. So do you have a brewery for me to pick in 10-ish questions?
I do. I'll just shift my Zoom meeting thing so I can. There we go. All right, tally ho.
All right, pick a brewery in 10-ish questions. Are they Australian?
Nope.
Shit. What country are we looking at?
Uh, Great Britain.
Great Britain. Okay.
Oh, England, I guess. Sorry. I
England,
guess Great
England,
Britain's.
England, England. Uh, are they known for a particular style?
I would say outside of England, they are only known for one beer. Inside England, they're known for quite a few beers, but if you're talking outside England, they're only known for one beer name.
You know. Um, would I have seen them in a local bottle shop?
Yep, you probably would have drunk it as well.
Uh,
I'll give you.
London based?
No,
No.
that's. If I was giving you a clue, I would
Yep.
say they're all about tradition.
All about
That's
tradition.
that's their underlying, um, I don't know, point of being in existence. Tradition.
Tradition. We're not going to Ireland, are we?
No, it's England.
England. You said England. Sorry, you did. Tradition. Um, so probably served on cask. Oh,
Predominantly inside England, it's served on. Yeah, they serve their main beer on cask.
uh, yikes. Not Adnams.
No,
Um, oh,
so I
interesting.
think we're about.
Have we spoken about them on the podcast before? Do you think?
No, I don't think we have. No,
Shepherd Neame.
nope. I think that's 8 questions. I wasn't really counting properly.
Let's
I'll give
10-ish
I'll give you a
questions.
clue.
Yep.
I'll give you a clue if you know the brewery. This is a dead giveaway.
Mm.
They somewhat recently released a new beer called Knoll Spring Blonde.
Oh, Spring Bond. That does not ring a bell at all.
Doesn't ring a bell at all.
No. Um,
Um, so the beer that's sold in this, or the beer that's exported is all bottled, so we don't get casks here in Australia. It's predominantly served in on cask
yeah.
in the tied houses that they have. So the linked breweries to their linked pubs to their brewery.
Yeah. Um,
In an interview with Jonathan Ross, Madonna said it was her favorite beer. I don't know if that's going to help you.
Jesus. Um, well, she's a sheep shagger. I know
Uh,
Old Speckled Hen. You've got Hook and Norton, Fuller's. Oh,
last clue
yeah.
is it has the name has or the beer has something to do with um real estate and renting. I'm hoping that's a dead giveaway.
Yeah, and I'm sure we've got people screaming down the line at us. Real estate and renting. No,
Initials are TT.
not tenants.
No, that's Scottish. So the brewery name is TT.
Their name is TT. I can't think of anything with TT.
So the beer they're famous for is TT, and the third word is has to do with renting and who's in charge of the premise or the house. They make the rules. Like the owner of the house that's been rented out.
Like a landlord.
Very much like a landlord, exactly like a landlord.
TT landlord. I haven't got it.
You're gonna kick yourself.
Yeah, give me something else.
Done. Well, Knoll Spring is where the brewery's based.
Yeah,
So, what other clue can I give you? Sold in their Tide pubs.
I know Thai pubs.
Um, Bolt Maker is another one of their beers. They've got a Golden Best, Dark Mild Ramtam.
No,
Um, just looking at some other beers. Have a Cake Ale is a specialty they do every now and then. Um,
no, you've stumped me on this one.
they're based in Yorkshire or West Yorkshire. Family owned, still independent.
TT, not Twin Towns with TT. No, you've got me.
The second word is first name of a very famous female artist. So
No,
something T. Her
something.
fans are called Swifties.
Yeah, so Tom Taylor,
Yep.
landlords.
So Taylor landlord. So
No, I can't think of it.
no, Timothy Taylor.
Timothy
Timothy
Taylor.
Taylor landlord.
No, doesn't ring a bell at all.
Really?
No,
Wow.
you've got me on that one.
Huh.
So that was a failure on my behalf. Timothy
You never heard
Taylor
of
land.
Timothy Taylor?
No, no, I'm not as
Wow.
old as you. Remember?
Suppose, you don't drink cask beer and get around in a flat cup, I guess. So
uh, Timothy Taylor landlord. Okay, interesting. Hmm.
I mean,
Oh well,
I thought that was
you thought
thought
that
that
was
was
easy, didn't
a
you?
yeah, I thought it was. Yeah,
No,
they've
you
been in bottle shops in Australia for ages. Timothy Taylor landlord. I think I think Brisbane Brewing had bought a keg out of it as well during one of their events.
okay?
Maybe I had landlord on tap.
Interesting. No, you absolutely got me on that one.
Yeah.
Well done.
Oh,
I hope everyone at home got that one. You can make fun of me on the basement quality banter /groups / yeah. Um, I just think that's yeah, interesting. Didn't know that one. So, do you have a question for me?
no, I don't actually.
Oh, well,
No,
that's
I
right then.
was busy doing the brewery thing, so I ran out of time on
No,
the
that's
question.
cool. That's cool. We'll do that next week. Yeah, we've got a couple of people that we might line up for next week too, so that's pretty cool. So I think that's all my beer news, or your beer news.
Yep, that's all I had.
So I'll move on to F1. So Louis G has jumped onto our Facebook page, and he wanted us to pick a drivers' champion, a teams' champion, and the results of Melbourne, which I didn't see before. Well, we didn't record before Melbourne because we had Matt on. So drivers' champion this year, I actually think with what they've got, I think Russell seems pretty set. I do think that Lewis and Kimi will get a win this year. The team's probably Mercedes because of what they've got. And Melbourne, I had no idea. It was a total free for all. So uh, yeah, I had no predictions for that.
Yeah, did anybody pick Melbourne? Really?
George was the favourite from the testing and their compression ratio thing. So yeah, so Jimmy Reese has named it the FIA Battery Management World Championship, and he isn't far wrong. So nearly 500,000 people paid ridiculous money. We're talking $25 for a hot dog and $100 for a cap. When they attended the Australian GP, local driver Piastri crashing on his reconnaissance lap. Um, I, I liked the scrapping for the first 15 laps, however, it felt artificial. I think they've really messed up with this regulation set. The whole overtake boost energy recovery system seems really over complicated for people who just want to see cars go around in circles. I like the sustainable fuel. I like the active aero, but they could probably stop it at there and maybe a KERS system to make it a hybrid system. Um, I think drivers they've got their foot flat out and then the computers start super clipping before the corner. Just seems really artificial, or they're giving 100 kilowatts too much power around the corner, which happened to Piastri. It just seems a bit too manufactured. It also shows that there's lots that can go wrong with Hulkenberg unable to start. I thought it was really cool to see Ferrari up the front with their small turbo start advantage. Arvid Lindblad probably did an amazing job for his rookie race with what he had. So yeah, China this week. Considering it's a quick turnaround, I don't think there'll be much development. But yeah, I was also surprised to learn that drivers took off as quickly as possible from Australia. I know they're here on working visas, but apparently the longer they stay here, the more tax they pay to the Australian government. I know that a lot of drivers live in Monaco because there's no personal tax, but I didn't really think about how they're taxed while they're racing abroad, and I guess that affects the whole team and support crew. And apparently, touring bands also fall into this category, which I really didn't have any idea about. So yeah, I digress anyway.
So they must be taxed on earnings and not being taxed on being paid. Because you'd think that they would just pay them when they're back in Monaco, but so it must be when they're actually
Yeah, I don't get it.
earning money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Do they get taxed for their full salary for the 3 days they're here? It's like
yeah, must be.
365 divided by three or something. Yeah. I don't know how it works. It's quite interesting, but I'd never thought of it like that. Rugby
I
league.
think
Are you right?
well, I think the beauty of F1 is like it's always meant to be like a completely unrelatable car, right? Like
Yeah.
pushing the boundaries of technology and acceleration and downforce and all that stuff. I think with the battery system, everyone's kind of familiar with that feeling of racing your battery on your phone or something.
Mm,
Um, I'm just I just don't think it's that like extreme cutting edge technology that F1 should be.
mm.
Um,
It seems a
so
bit
yeah,
artificial at the moment. I don't know.
yeah, like I know they've got to change the platform to be more eco-friendly and involving like the green fuel and battery system because that's the way the world's going to go, right?
Mm.
So again, you want F1 to be on that extreme edge of the battery technology, and I don't know, just yeah, I don't think they've got it quite dialed in yet.
No, no. It'll be interesting to see how it turns out. Rugby league. I saw some really big scores in the opening round. The first time since the 30s, a reigning premier has been kept scoreless in the following year's opening round. So well done on the Broncos for winning that. The Tigers, my Tigers are ninth, which is a really positive spot for us to be. But we did have a first round bye, so we haven't actually played a game yet. But we're coming ninth, so that's a good start. Yeah, and
At least he didn't lose.
how's the rugby going?
Well, much like the league, there was some big scores and some very surprising results from the Six Nations. Anyway,
Mm,
Scotland tailed up France to hand in their first defeat in this year's competition with a 50-40 scoreline. So
that's crazy.
bunch of tries. So I haven't actually watched any of these games yet, so I'm definitely going to watch that game.
Yeah,
And I reckon that everyone had France just already inked in their name engraved on the trophy for an undefeated run in the Six Nations this year, but that's a bit of a stumble
mm,
against Scotland. I think Scotland are fourth on the table, so
yeah,
that's a bit of a stumble from France. Even more shocking, Italy, who are well until Wales started stinking up the joint with the perennial whipping boys of the Six Nations. They beat England for
yeah.
the first time ever with a final score of 23-18. So England now in fifth place on the Six Nations table. So Scotland have a real conundrum on their hands now. So they're placed fourth. Um, so England are playing France this weekend. So do they support England for a win over France, or do they continue just supporting whoever plays England? Reason being that if England beats France and Scotland wins against Ireland, then Scotland takes out their first Six Nations trophy ever.
Wow,
All I have to do is throw their pride in the bin and support England.
that's
It's a
crazy.
big call. And lastly, my own Queensland Reds had a win against the Brumbies, ending their 5 game losing streak. So I think that's going back 3 or 4 years now that the Reds haven't won against the Brumbies.
Mm,
So so that was a good streak to break. So that game's probably been most talked about with the a late kickoff where Dagunu appeared to knock the ball on into I think it was Fraser right in front of him. The ball bounced back and he caught it, and then the Reds ran like 70 meters down the field, had a few rucks and mauls, and then scored a try. Um, so that's going to be a real talking point forever.
yeah,
I don't think the Brumbies will ever let go of that. So the Reds scored 14 points in the last 3 minutes.
wow.
And I actually watched this game too. It was an absolute belter. So they basically scored two 80-meter tries in the last 3 minutes to pinch the game.
Yeah, that's a great result.
Yeah, and that was after a 90-minute delay due to lightning strikes over the Brumbies stadium. One of the lightning strikes actually hit the stadium
Yeah,
while the commentators were on air, and I think Tim Horan almost pooped himself.
that's GIO Stadium, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, that would have been funny to see and hear.
Not for Tim.
No, not for Tim. All right. Well, that's everything we've got for this week's episode. Thank you for listening to our basement quality banter. I think we'll try and get a guest on for next week. And if you have anything you want us to do, yeah, jump onto our Facebook group, give us some shit, and we'll see what we can do. Thanks, Angus, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Luke. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Everyone, bye.